Vishwam Darpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyan Nijantargatam Pashyannatmani Mayaya Bahirivodbhutai Yatha Nidraya Yasakshat Kurute Prabodha Samaye Svatmanamevadvayam Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namahidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye Bijasyantarivankuro Jagadidam Prangnirvikalpam Punaha Maya Kalpita Deshakala Kalana Vaichitra Chaitri Kritam Maya Viva Vidrumbhayatya Vimaha Yogi Vayasvechaya Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namahidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namahidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om. Verse 24. Brahmaivaham samashantaha Satchidananda Lakshanaha Naham deho hyasadrupaha Jnanamityuchyate budhaihi. So compared to this verse and the previous verses before this 24th, Shankaracharya ji pointed out well that I am Deha etc. is a ignorance. All our transactions in the world are basically crystalline ignorance. Because all transactions, so in whatever form you transact, it's transaction through the body. And transaction through the body using as an instrument like the specs, no, not at all. Saying the body as the self, we do transact. Therefore, telling the body aham deha is crystalline ignorance. The transactions are crystalline ignorance. In fact, Atma does not transact at all. What to there to transact? Limitless consciousness, other than that there is nothing. And I am that limitless consciousness. For transaction you need another one. Otherwise how will you transact? So from the standpoint of I, that is how in Mandukya Upanishad it has been said, avyavharyaha. Atma is avyavharyaha. Atma is not available for vyavhara, transaction. There is no transaction possible. Of course, at the level of ahankara, at the level of individuality, there is a transaction. You are the transactor. This is my English, I don't know whether right or wrong. But so you are the one who transacts, then the people and the world to whom you transact, to which you transact. And then there is a process of transaction also in which the one who transacts and the object of transaction are connected. So, well, this aham dehaha is ignorance. So all this, I am Swamiji, I am traveling today. I am taking your leave from the camp, I am going to Boston. Oh, very good. That limitless consciousness, where will it go? So, I mean, Jnani also may say, I don't want to go into that topic, it's another, but Jnani also continue to say like that. So we feel, see, we are also saying I am going to Boston, he also says I am going to Boston, but his I is a I of an actor, please understand. When actor says I am begging right now, in his mind is very clear this is simply a role playing. He used the word I only. He cannot, this is ridiculous. Well, this body is going to Boston. What is this? What are you talking? At 12:30 the body will feel hungry. There was one Mahatma in Coimbatore, and he used to always talk, This body has just arrived from the Coimbatore airport. Why? What is this? We feel so much, the way the transaction happens, it should happen. You should be clear. Yeah. Whatever the script playing is there, he has to play. And he has to say, I as a beggar. But in his mind, there is a space. Please remember that. Otherwise, if we feel Gnani also says, I am going to Boston, I am taking walk. Oh, see? He's saying, Swamiji, I was telling you, this knowledge is just in the books. Yeah. Please understand. It's exactly, that is how understanding, gaining this knowledge is really afterwards a playing game kind of a thing. And I remember Socrates' words now, whole world is a drama and each one is playing a role, etc. is very true, very true. That alone, that person alone is living a fullest life. Everyone is otherwise under the under the bundle of problems. Even role becomes yourself. It's problem. That's how Vedanta does not solve the problem. Again, I am saying, Vedanta resolves the problem once for all, giving you a proper understanding of yourself. And then everything becomes simply situation, because it is simply a role playing. And therefore, I am consciousness, has no issue at all. We are seeing that. In fact, I am full. Ananda. Ananda, not in terms of it, don't think this is Sukhākara Vritti, etc. No. Whenever, in those moments also, when you experience fullness, you don't have any lack centered on yourself, you are Ananda. You have a moment of happiness. Or whenever you forget a smallness of you, that is the moment of joy. And therefore, dropping the sense of smallness reveals that I am not small. If it is your nature, if I am really small, I can never drop that. You can never drop it, but you drop it. Something becomes nimitta and you say that is a source of joy, but it's not true. Your own self, the reality of you is revealed. That obstruction caused by the ignorance, etc., that notion or sense of smallness, just drop. Yeah, it is dropped even in a deep sleep state. It is dropped in a moment of joy in a waking state. It can be there even for a fraction of a second in a dream state also, where you experience some joy. So please understand, that's your reality. Therefore, better you know yourself. Sachidananda Lakshana. Anyway, so Naham Deha, is indicating the knowledge. And Shankaracharya ji keeps hammering this. 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, Naham Deha, Naham Deha, Naham Deha, etc., etc. So, and I was telling you, I still want to discuss few things in that. Of course, I told you in the class before, body, mind, senses, all is a medium of transaction, basically. And like ours, and I gave you example also, like spectacles are also object of experience. Same way body, mind, senses are also object of experience, object of knowledge. But what happens is that object of knowledge, when I put on my eyes, it becomes instrument. And then we forget that it's an object. And unknowingly we take as an integral part of the subject. So, let us remember this sentence henceforth. Object is forgotten as an object when it serves as an instrument. There are few examples where you cannot apply this, but let's not go into that. But especially for spectacles, for hearing aid, you use some instrument. It becomes integral part of the subject. You talk everything as an object of knowledge, thinking this is integral part of a subject. So when I enumerate definitely object, I forget spectacles. So Sthula Sharira also is an object. Sukshma Sharira, I mean the mind, senses, everything also is an object. But when both of them are intimately used as a medium of transaction, that is how in Tattvabodha, very beautifully is defined this Sthula Sharira and Sukshma Sharira. Sukha Dukkhadi Bhoga Ayatanam for Sthula Sharira. Sukha Dukkhadi Bhoga Sadhanam, Sukshma Sharira. Bhoga Ayatanam. Ayatanam means a counter, tenement, remaining where this jiva experiences sukha and dukkha, pleasure and pain, all experiences. Bhoga means experience. Sukha dukkha bhoga, pleasure and pain. So body also is an instrument that way, is a counter to experience the world in terms of pleasure and pain. And sukha dukkhadi bhoga sadhanam, sukshma sharira. Means sadhanam means for acquiring those experiences. One is a tenement, counter, remaining where you experience sukha dukkha. The other is a means, means for acquiring sukha dukkha. Ultimately, sthula sharira and sukshma sharira are basically used as a medium of transaction. And they are definitely taken as a subject. So to prove world as an object is easier, but to prove medium medium as object is difficult. Medium of transaction is very difficult. That's how when I purchase spectacles, well, etc., well, it is an object, and you see all the ways, etc. So it's a very clear object of knowledge. And once you put on your face, etc., well, then definitely it becomes you put on because you want to use it as an instrument to see the world. And then it becomes an integral part of the subject. That's how it happens. So anyway, well, spectacles I can understand. It's an object of knowledge, very easy to understand. But how to prove that this body and mind, Sthula Sharira and Sukshma Sharira are objects? How will you prove? How will you prove? Spectacles, you put it here, and you can say, well, this is an object of knowledge. You remove it. Okay, then you remove physical body and subtle body also. So then you will know they are objects. How will I remove? Then who will be there to talk? Eh? What to do? Bhagavan has given arrangement. Automatically, naturally removed. In deep sleep state, they are naturally removed. So temporarily removed from I, from the subject, it is temporarily removed in deep sleep state. And we recollect this in the morning that, well, I was not aware of the body, I was not aware of the mind, etc. So from I, well, definitely it is removed temporarily. So we don't function through them, and we don't use them naturally as an instruments in deep sleep state. So they are also spectacles to see the physical universe or the dream universe. In dream universe, well, definitely subtle body is used. To see the physical universe, gross plus subtle body are used. So when the spectacles are removed, well, I still remain. Same way when these spectacles, pair of glasses, gross body and subtle body are removed temporarily, well, still I remain in deep sleep state. I do definitely remain, and that's how you say, well, I only went to sleep at 9 o'clock and I got up. So there was some I who was there. Not that individual, because sense of individuality was not there in deep sleep state. I was there, but I as an individual was not there in deep sleep state. Then what was I? Suppose the I with the sleep has gone and a new I has emerged, then it's a different thing. It's not like that. Then who is that I who has not an individual in deep sleep state? That is consciousness, witness consciousness, which has witnessed, well, the absence of everything, the entire world, including the body, mind, senses. And therefore, well, this physical body, well, in the subtle body, a pair of glasses removed, still the perceiver in form of witness consciousness, well, is not removed. Like I remove the spectacles, still I remain. Same way, this, well, because I don't want to transact further, so I removed as though this both. And still, well, I don't, still I remain as a witness consciousness. And therefore, na aham deha, I am not this deha. Here you can include, I am not the gross body, I am not the subtle body, etc. I am not the mind. What a big relief. What a big relief. I am not the mind. All complaints are centered on our mind. Right? Depression, this, that, loneliness. I'm going to talk about it. Loneliness, sense of rejection. All has a connection in self-knowledge. We'll see. So anyway, asadrupaha dehaha na aham bhavami. Asadrupa, it's a mithya. You can say impermanent also. Mithya translation. Asat means mithya or impermanent. Same thing. Anitya. So I am not this impermanent medium, but I exist without this temporary medium in sleep. So I am independent of that. So I end, of course, as a transacting entity, but I continue to be an existing entity. So I am the form of the existence, and therefore my nature is existence, and therefore I never ceases to be. There will never be a time when I become non-existent. And so, and then the question was, why I end transactions? Well, because transacting instruments, the physical body, mind, senses, are folded in deep sleep state. And they are, therefore they are impermanent. They come and go. But I am the permanent consciousness, which was there even in a waking state. The consciousness alone, this is a subject matter of the Mandukya Upanishad, so we will not go into that. But I, the consciousness alone, assumes the role of a waker and transact with the waking world through the physical body and the subtle body. Then I alone transact in a dream world, gaining a status of a dreamer, and transact with the dream world. Then I'm tired of transaction. And all this physical body and the subtle body, they are folded. So then I don't transact. But still, as a consciousness, still I continue. The same consciousness which was there in waking, same consciousness is there in a dream state, and same consciousness is there in a deep sleep state. Therefore, that is how there is one I which connects all the three. Oh, I was a waker, then I dreamt, what is that I? Because the waker has gone and dreamer has come. Dreamer has gone, deep sleeper is there. That has gone, waker has come. Who is that I which is continuously there? To which, time has not affected. So I'm timeless consciousness. Timeless consciousness shows, it is nitya, ever existent. What is within the carpet of time is anitya, impermanent, which is not within the within not the carpet of the time. It is beyond time. What is beyond time, it ever is. It was there in present, it was there in past, it is there in present, it will remain in the future. Generally, what is within the fold of time, but it is within the fold of time, it was there, then it may not be here. What is within fold of time, it is there right now, will not be there in future. Right? In all the three periods, if something exists, means it is ever existent. The I, the consciousness, is ever existent. Several examples. Yesterday some questions were there whether I will exist or not or something. So that's a very serious question, but I'm giving some logic to understand it. Anyway. So aham asadrupaha dehaha na bhavami. Listening this itself gives a lot of relief. Because one thing I can't accept is a non-existence, decimation of oneself. I can't accept it. And fortunately, I am ever existent. Ever existent means immortal. No birth, no death, etc. Birth, death means impermanent, within time. What is beyond time, which is timeless. And that is beyond birth and death, the immortal. That's how it is. What is beyond birth and death is free from all changes. What is free from all the changes, all the movement, is free from any action. Action involves movement. Any action involves movement. At a subtle level, at a gross level. At a physical level or at a mental level. You people are sitting quietly, but you are not definitely actionless. Your mind is running. Action means movement. This is Nayayika's definition. Wonderful, brilliant definition. Chalanatmakam karma. Chalanatmakam. Any movement, subtler level or a gross level, is action. No change, no movement, so I am akarta, actionless. If I am actionless, well, I am free from even bhoktrutvam. I am not an enjoyer. One who is a doing, one who is a doer, is an enjoyer also, to reap the result and to enjoy. So all these things are noodles of Maggie. If you pick up one, so many things comes. Really, they are all there. Anyway, so I am ever existent, immortal. That's a reality about me. And we have instinctive attachment to life and or existence. Because so we cannot accept mortality. What we instinctively seek is our nature. That is how they give an example. One Ācārya was giving an example of a water. If you somehow convert the water into ice by freezing, etc., that ice basically is struggling to become a water. But if you keep a low temperature, it remains. As you take it out in a room temperature, it immediately starts coming to its natural state. And therefore, so basically, so this is a rule we get now. What is unnatural is naturally rejected. What is unnatural to us is naturally rejected. So we reject mortality. Therefore, definitely, I must be free from the mortality. So we reject mortality because mortality is unnatural to us. So therefore, I can't be this impermanent body, mortal mind, mortal senses, mortal pranas. I'm not. So then who am I? I am Brahman, timeless consciousness, limitless consciousness. So Brahma eva aham, etc., etc. I am independent of the body, independent of the mind, independent of the senses. I am not the property of the body. I am not the property of the brain. Answer to the scientist. I am not property of the brain. I am not the product of the brain. There are groups. Someone says it's a property of consciousness, is a property of brain. Someone says consciousness is a product of the brain. No. I'm independent of that. I do exist independent of them. Our own analysis of our experiences reveal it, etc. So I'm not bound by the limits of the body. Body is limited. Whatever the condition of the body is the condition of the body, is not condition of me. Right? And so, like they give an example, like electricity basically pervades the bulb, enlivens the bulb, etc., is not limited by the boundaries of the bulb. Same way, consciousness, it pervades the body, makes it sentient, conscious, etc., but it is not limited by the boundaries of the body. I am limitless consciousness. Brahma eva aham samaha, I told you, uniform. All these bodies, etc., subtle and gross bodies, they are multiforms. Why multiforms, Swamiji? Because one is also 5 elements, other is also 5 elements. Still there is a difference. Karma. Therefore, in definition of a gross body and subtle body, Tattvabodha well has said, Satkarma Janyam. Satkarma Janyam, born of a Satkarma, means karma basically. Any frog body has a frog karma. So, Manushya Janma then Satkarma Janyam. Anyway, so bodies are multiforms. The consciousness which pervades everything and the truth of everything is uniform. Like the electricity, right? Electricity, wherever it manifests, they are multiforms. But electricity is uniform, which pervades all mediums, is uniform. Then Shantaha, I told you, silence. You are silent in the morning today, undisturbed, right? Then Satchidananda Lakshanaha, I am fullness. Anywhere happiness manifests, that is, the source is only one, and that is Atma. Because in a moment of joy, what is manifest is fullness, wholeness, limitlessness. In fact, that limitlessness alone manifests as fullness. We call happiness. That's it, nothing else. And therefore, a sense of limitation, a sense of isolation, sense of rejection, etc., is born of what? Ignorance. So even if people are around, people feel loneliness. In a family, people feel loneliness. There are people around. Still he feels loneliness. So ultimate problem is this ignorance alone. I am small, I am lacking, I need people's company, etc., etc. So the problem, actually it's a cognitive problem. Ignorance and we should get knowledge, it's a cognitive problem. But it has come down to the emotional level. And so the problem of this emotional problem and this cognitive problem, cognitive understanding, we don't find any relationship. They give a very beautiful example that one person was considered by others as a little bit off. And so he was actually a very intelligent person, but some people consider him as a little bit off. So he was taken to a psychiatrist. And then psychiatrist asked, "Well, if I cut your ears, then what will happen?" He immediately replied, "I will not be able to see." Psychiatrists were looking at him, and he thought, that's true. He's really off. So he still again asked, "Well, if I cut your ears, what will happen?" He says, I will not be able to see." The psychiatrist says, "How do you say that?" Well, he says, "If you cut my ears, where will I hook my spectacles?" So there is a connection. Even psychiatrists need understanding. He was so intelligent. So when you have a sense of isolation, rejection, all that, and you meet a Swami generally, and Swami will say, you attend class, and you come to the class and talking about self. What is this connection? I am having a sense of isolation, and this Swami puts me to the class. He may be having a less audience, so I think he needs it. Therefore, there is a connection. There is a connection. What is a connection? You can see now, but if you are not able to see, you are basically fullness, limitlessness, but due to ignorance, you disown this fullness. Well, then definitely you feel that there is a smallness, insignificance, and then definitely it brings a sense of isolation. It brings a sense of rejection. And a sense of rejection, when it manifests, in terms of rejecting others. When you reject others, others reject you. Vedānta Upanishad clearly says, if you reject the world will reject you. If you reject Brahman, actually. If you reject Brahman, Brahman will reject you. This Jnani, why Jnani is not rejected generally? Because he looks upon everything as a self. And therefore, when you reject something, well, definitely look upon someone as different from yourself. Then only a sense of rejection comes. Therefore, this whole thing, and when other people reject you, you feel more rejection. Because you want an approval from the people. Really. But you don't know that you have started rejecting others. Sense of isolation definitely brings sense of rejection. They avoid any kind of relationship. They never want to meet the people, etc., etc. And more sense of loneliness brings a depression. All arise from the issue of not knowing oneself as full and complete. Most significant in the world. So, a sense of smallness, sense of insignificance can lead to anything. So cognitive problem, not understanding the self, is a cognitive problem. Ignorance, etc., leads to emotional problem. Right? So generally people feel that a Swami should advise you should do this particular prayer, particular mantra, etc. Instead, Swami says you come and attend class. So that is... So you feel anyway. Let's go further. Verse 25. Nirvikaro Nirakaraha Niravadyoham Avyayaha Naham Deho Hyasadrupaha Jnanam Ityuchyate Budhaihi. Same thing is repeated in the second line. Naham Dehahai Asadrupaha. He, Yasmat. Since, well, I am not this Deha, which is Mithya, which is impermanent, etc. Well, and if you claim this, well, it is iti jnanam, this is called jnanam. Uchyate budhaihi uchyate. Well, it is said by the wise people that this is called jnanam when you disclaim the body, etc., as the self, which is impermanent. Asat. Asat means impermanent, mithya, same thing, same meaning. Impermanent, which comes and goes. Which comes and goes, definitely does not exist on its own, etc., etc. I told you everything. So anyway, and in this, I forgot a very important point in the morning classes. When you do nididhyasanam, both the things are required. A thing which is to be asserted and a thing to be negated. So if you see here in verse 25, it is asserted. The first line is a line of assertion. I am nirakara, I am formless, this, etc. And in second line it is nisheda. I am not the body, I am this, etc. So both the statements are there where anatma nisheda also is important as well as atma dhyanam also is important. Atma dhyanam, well, it becomes very efficacious when you do simultaneously anatma nisheda. I am not the body, I am not this. That becomes more efficacious. So both has to be there in the nididhyasanam. Anyway, and when you do like this, well, our attitude towards the body, the old age, death, etc. will change. So who am I, he says here, aham nirvikaraha. Nirvikara. Vikara means shadbhava. Shadbhava is vikara. So shadbhava rahitaha. So jayate, asti, vardate, viparinamate, apakshiyate, vinashyati. So these are the bhavas of the body. Jayate, well, takes birth. Then asti. Then only you say it is. And then vardate, grows. Then viparinamate. There will be a state where you don't see a growth, you don't see a decay. Almost an age of 25 to 35 of this body. Is where there is no growth in terms of height, etc. People may put on weight after marriage, that happens. They grow that way. But really speaking, the growth, etc. has stopped. And there is no decay. But after 35, this may come. Some people start wearing glasses, etc. They say scientists, I heard so, may be right, may not be right, but they say the 20 to 30% capacity of the senses, etc. diminishes at the age of 40, etc. They say like that. Could be. Anyway, so that is a period of morphosis or whatever, 25 to 35. So viparinama. And then apakshaya. It starts decaying. And vinashyati. So these are the bhavas of the body, vikaras, modifications of the body. Aham nirvikaraha. Just you say that I am not the body, that understanding will bring to this. You need not have to do this. When your understanding towards the body, attitude towards the body, not understanding, of course is there. Attitude is always born of understanding. So when your attitude changes, after thorough understanding of this, well, then definitely you will automatically say, I am nirvikaraha, free from modifications. Nirakaraha. Why? Because I don't have any form. I don't have any form. I am formless. We saw in the morning, I am formless. Swamiji, what did you say? Now you try to remember. I am formless. What was the reason I gave? Do you remember? Wonderful. Wonderful, Kumarji. So, because basically I exist even without space. And therefore, basically the very existence of space is proven by me. The space exists in me. I don't exist in space, and therefore I don't have a form. Any form exists within space with a certain dimension, etc. I talked about. So, I am nirvikaraha, well, I am free from these modifications because I don't have a form. Any form will have this modification. So since I am nirakaraha, I am nirvikaraha. We can take that way. Anyway, then niravadyaha, free from doshas, free from defects, free from threefold suffering. Like suffering from your own body. That's called adhyatmika tapaha. That's how we always chant 3 times Shanti. Om Shantihi, Shantihi, Shanti. In order to basically, pacify all the 3 types of, or at least neutralize 3 types of suffering. So, you have a certain suffering based on the body. Natural, some fever and this and disease, and headache, backache, knee pain, all. And then there is a suffering from the world, some neighbor. Yeah, sometimes neighbor creates so much a problem. Tenants create problems, so much. Other people and other. Sometimes even birds create. You are sleeping and they start chirping. And you feel this is a nuisance. Anything from this adi bhautikam, anything pertaining to the physical world can become a cause of suffering. And then adi daivikam, from natural elements, right? Snowfall or tornado, this, that. Too much of heat. Adi daivikam, pertaining to devatas, natural forces. All these tapas are possible, are there for whom? One who is embodied. Right? The suffering from the body will be there for whom? Who is embodied. No, Swamiji, it is not true. Well, suffering the body is the suffering of the body. Well, that is knowledge. Suffering the body is suffering of me, is ajnanam. That is how in Panchadashi, Vidyaranya discussed this very beautifully while discussing a mantra of a Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Atmanam chit vijanyat ayamasmi iti purushaha kimichan kasya kamaya shariram anusanjvaret. Sharira has a jvara, tapa. Jvara means jvara means fever, means any kind of suffering. But this person, Atmanam chit vijaniyat, one who knows the Atma, which is distinct from the 3 bodies, well, he will not have anujvara. Suffering of the body will not become the suffering of himself. He is free from anujvara. That's called samsara. Suffering of the body is my suffering. When person meets with an accident, then of course body pain, etc. is there. But more than that, he has suffering. That, what a prarabdha I have, and this and that, and I must have done something wrong to the person. All this is mental suffering. All is because of the identification with the body. Anujvara. So he is free from anujvara. That is what is been said here. So anyway, tapatraya rahita. It's too much of heat and too much of cold for whom? That's for body, of course. But then it is, I am suffering from the too much of heat, or I am suffering from too much of cold, etc. So, this is called, these 3 doshas are there. Tapatrayam is there. Adhyatmika tapaha, then adhibhautika tapaha, adidaivika tapaha. They are there for whom? For the person who is embodied, who has identification with the body. Atma is what? Niravadyaha, free from these 3-fold defects. Avadyaha means a dosha, defect. Niravadyaha. Nirgataha, avadyaha, yasmat, saha niravadyaha. Let's read verse number 26. Niramayo nirabhasaha nirvikalpohamatatāha nāham deho yasadrūpaha jnānamityucchate budhaihi. Again, second line is same. Niramaya, first line. Amaya means a disease. Niramaya means Atma, the Atma is free from diseases. Nirgataha amayaha yasmat saha niramayaha. I am taking a plural because body has several diseases. In a one lifetime, body undergoes several types of diseases. So, basically I, the Atma, is free from any diseases. And Jnani claims like this. When Jnani claims, the other will definitely shout. Hey, how can a Jnani says like this? Jnani has a cancer. Somehow, I don't know, most of the Jnanis who have gone in the recent past, Ramana Maharshi and Swami Akhandanji and other people, other Jnanis, somehow they had cancer. Somehow, I don't know why. No, don't try to find any connection. No? This is just, I'm just saying, people will immediately connect somewhere. Don't try to find some connection. But apart from it, there are other diseases also. And therefore, when Jnani claims I am free from any disease, well, other people will say, we are seeing a disease in the person, and how can he say like that? But Jnani claims I am not Jnani. That's the thing. Jnani claims I am a Jnani, still he is an individual. When you suppose you know this, and you say I am a knower, Jnani of this, knower. That's the one thing. That is okay. But when you know the self, you don't say I am a knower of the self. The knower of the self, what does he say? I am self. I am self. He doesn't say I am Jnani. Then what about this Brahman? What about this Brahman? So, Atma is Brahman and he claims I am Brahman. That's it. And therefore, from that, his standpoint, he is free from diseases. But from the onlooker standpoint, well, definitely he is a body. Others look upon him as a body only, a live body, sentient body. And so they look upon him as an individual only. And so therefore they say, oh, well, how can he say he doesn't have any diseases? Anyway. And but then his body also should remain free from diseases. The Puja Swamiji, you must be remembering this. Puja Swamiji was asked that how so-and-so Jnani has got suffered a heart attack. Well, how can he got heart? Swamiji said, well, it proves that he has a heart. That's all. What can you say? Then what can you say? In fact, Jnani has a better heart, large heart. In fact, that is the thing. Anyway, point is, so this is how the question is. His body also should be free. That's not possible. Why? Because the body is a product of prarabdha. That's it. And prarabdha brings both sukham, dukkham, etc. And therefore, well, definitely, if Jnani definitely is alive, then indicates his prarabdha karma is not exhausted. And like it is like they say, when oil is exhausted, one flame automatically gets extinguished. Same way the oil, prarabdha is there, therefore, well, he is alive also. When that is over, well, his body will definitely goes away, body becomes dead. But basically, during the period, whatever the number of years he lives, there will be some disease in the body. Then nirabhasaha, this nirabhasaha. Before I explain this word, well, I have to explain a phenomena of knowledge, epistemology in Vedanta. How knowledge takes place? Well, we say, see, how the knowledge of clip takes place. This is how Vedanta explains that there are two things involved here. One is, first thing is a mind through the senses, through the eyes, goes out in form of a thought, which we call as a chakshusha vritti. So the mind along with the eyes pervade the object, and that is called vritti vyapti, the pervasion of a thought along with the sense. So it pervades. But the mind being inert, made up of subtle elements, inert, it cannot illuminate. And therefore the consciousness which is present in the thought, well, definitely also goes along with the thought, and well, it illumines the object. Could you follow? So that is, one is called vritti vyapti, the other is called phala vyapti. Vritti vyapti means, the object is pervaded by the mind, by the thought. And the consciousness present in the thought, definitely, pervades, that also pervades the object and illumines the object. And therefore, so abhasa here means this phala vyapti. So here it says nirabhasa. Because as I said, this any object, whatever the knowledge takes place in which, you know varieties of the objects, intellect cannot definitely illumine any object. All objects are therefore illumined by that consciousness, that is reflected consciousness in the mind. We call as a chidabhasa. So with that chidabhasa, definitely it is illumined, and therefore every knowledge is always a sabhasaha. Sabhasaha means abhasena saha vartate. It is all the time along with the consciousness, reflected consciousness. So, and therefore, but the subject, that is about objects. But subject, basically is never available for objectification, and therefore it doesn't need a chidabhasa, because basically the consciousness is self-revealing. It doesn't need a thought to be revealed. It doesn't need a chidabhasa to be revealed, because it is itself is a chit, consciousness which is self-revealing, and therefore basically consciousness is called nirabhasa. Therefore consciousness cannot be known, cannot be objectified the way you objectify the various things and know. No. Then a very big question comes. If consciousness cannot be objectified and therefore cannot be known in a general convention, then how will you say consciousness is there? That's a big issue. Immediately we should answer this, right? When you say Atma cannot be known, then we want to give up the pursuit of knowing Atma, because whenever we come and ask you who is Atma, and you say it cannot be known. That's it. If it cannot be known, why should we come to this camp? Right? And knowing Atma alone is a moksha. And you say Atma cannot be known. Anyway, so if Atma is not knowable, how do you know that I, the Atma, exist? That's also a question. I, the Atma, exist. How do you know? Like they give an example of a man's horns. You know? Man's horns. So, whether man's horns exist or not? It doesn't exist. Why? Because it doesn't have a sound. Man's horn doesn't have any sound. It doesn't have any form. It cannot be tasted. It cannot be perceived, in any way. Then it cannot be inferred also. Right? It cannot be inferred. If somewhere you see the horns on some other person, then you feel why this Muktatma does not have horns. So then you can infer that he might have cut, etc. But that is also not possible. So what is not available for perception, inference and other means of knowledge means it cannot be known. Then how will you establish existence? A thing is established as existent because you know it. You know it and therefore you establish existence. Atma cannot be known, is not perceptible. Ashabdam, asparsham, arupam, arasam, nityam, agandhavat cannot be inferred. No means of knowledge work. And still you say Atma is. What is this? Well, we say Atma need not be known. Atma cannot be known, that is true. But basically, we say Atma need not be known because it is self-evident. Now I give you examples so we'll understand. In a dark room, there are objects. And you want to see what are the objects. Now you want to, so you use a torchlight. With the torchlight, those objects are illuminated and you know the existence of objects. Now I got an idea whether torchlight exists or not. What will you do? What will you do? You will bring another torchlight? What will you do? You should say the very existence of these things which are lying in the room itself is a proof of the existence of the torchlight. even though you don't objectify the torchlight, you objectify all other objects, yet, well, the proof of all the objects, the very existence of all the objects, well, proves the existence of the torchlight. I give you another example, that's better example. You see a family photograph. Whole family is there. And you don't see one person in that. Right? You don't see one person in that family photograph. And well, still, you take the existence of the person there itself, then and there, in that event, you take the existence of the person without proof. The very, well, basically, you can appreciate its existence without seeing him. How? Because he has taken the picture. The one who has taken the picture, the very picture, well, in which the person is not existent, yet his existence is proven by that same picture in which he does not exist. Could you follow what I'm saying? The proof for the existence of the person is the picture in which he does not exist. Is it true or not? Could you follow or not? No, Swamiji, we did not follow. You take some family picture is there, family photograph is there, and other than family, nobody was there. If that was such a family function, private function, and you miss one person there. You miss one person in that picture. Still, that picture in which that person who is not there, that itself becomes proof for the existence of the person who is missing there. Could you follow? Now, that's how it is. You need not prove the existence of the person, even though you don't see the person there. It is like this. In fact, the person comes and tells, I was there. At that time, I was there. You say, you need not tell me, I can understand that. You say that. You need not tell me, I can understand that. That's how it is. One which proves everything. One to whom everything is evident, and thereby everything is existent. That need not be proven. In all your experiences, in all revelations of the entire world, space is, time is, etc., well, the consciousness is ever present. When you say space is equal to space consciousness is. Time is. When you say, well, time consciousness is. I am conscious of time, I am conscious of space, and thereby you say space is. You are conscious of time, then you say time is. Well, anything. You say table is, well, you are conscious of the table, and there you say table is. So in all experiences, well, the consciousness is ever present, which proves the existence of every other thing. And in that world picture, one thing is missing. In the picture of this world, one thing is missing. Consciousness. Otherwise, that also becomes what? Object. Like the family member who is missed in the picture, yet his existence is proven by there itself. There and then and there. Same way, entire world is evident. Well, definitely, there is a consciousness which makes the world evident. Everything is evident to the you, and you are self-evident, self-revealing, need not be proven. The proof exists in the world picture itself. So this is called nirabhasa. Need not be, it is not an object of knowledge, yet, well, its existence is self-proven. Nirvikalpaha, vikalpa, division. Without division. Division, well, belongs to anatma, body, mind, senses, etc. And objects not belong to consciousness, which pervades and illumines every object. So this is nirvikalpa. There are vikalpas even in the waves. But so far as water is concerned, well, which pervades all the waves, is free from any vikalpas. Division. It is pervading in and through every wave, It's free from division. And then atataha aham. Aham means I. Well, atataha means all pervading. And this is iti jnanam buddhaihi uchyate. This is the jnanam, well, that is said by the wise people. These are the verses of Nididhyasanam for you. And we have to stop here. So up to 26 we have done. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
मनोबुद्ध्यहङ्कार चित्तानि नाहं न च श्रोत्रजिह्वे न च घ्राणनेत्रे न च व्योमभूमेर्न तेजो न वा चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं न च प्राणसंज्ञो न वै पञ्चवायुः न वा सप्तधातुः न वा पञ्चकोशः न वाक्पाणिपादं न चोपस्थपायुः चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं न मे द्वेषरागौ न मे लोभमोहौ मदो नैव मेनैव मात्सर्यभावः न धर्मो न चार्थो न कामो न मोक्षः चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं न पुण्यं न पापं न सौख्यं न दुःखं न मन्त्रो न तीर्थं न वेदा न यज्ञः अहं भोजनं नैव भोज्यं न भोक्ता चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं न मे मृत्युशङ्का न मे जातिभेदः पिता नैव मे नैव माता न जन्म न बन्धुर्न मित्रं गुरुर्नैव शिष्यः चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् अहं निर्विकल्पो निराकाररूपः विभुर्व्याप्य सर्वत्र सर्वेन्द्रियाणां सदा मे समत्वं न मुक्तिर्न बन्धः चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं चिदानन्दरूपः शिवोऽहं 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 शिवोऽहम् this is Dasha Shloki, which is also by Shankaracharya, on the same lines of Nirvana Shatkam that we just sang. न भूमिर्न तोयं न तेजो न वायुः न खं नेन्द्रियं वा न तेषां समूहः अनैकान्तिकत्वात् सुषुप्त्यैकसिद्धः तदेको वसिष्ठः शिवः केवलोऽहम् तदेको वसिष्ठः शिवः केवलोऽहम् न वर्णा न वर्णाश्रमाचारधर्म न मे धारणा ध्यानयोगादयोऽपि अनात्माश्रयाहं ममाध्यासहानात् तदेको वसिष्ठः शिवः केवलोऽहम् न माता पिता वा न देवा न लोका न वेदा न यज्ञा न तीर्थं ब्रुवन्ति सुषुप्तौ निरस्तातिशून्यात्मकत्वात् तदेको वसिष्ठः शिवः केवलोऽहम् न साङ्ख्यं न शैवं न तत्पाञ्चरात्रं न जैनं न मीमांसकादेर्मतं वा विशिष्टानुभूत्या विशुद्धात्मकत्वात् तदेको वसिष्ठः शिवः केवलोऽहम् न चोर्ध्वं न चाधो न चार्तन् न चान्तर्न बाह्यं न मध्यं न तिर्यङ्गपूर्वापरादिक् वियद्व्यापकत्वादखण्डैकरूपः तदेको वसिष्ठः शिवः केवलोऽहम् न शुक्लं न कृष्णं न रक्तं न पीतं न कुब्जं न पीनं न ह्रस्वं न दीर्घम् अरूपं तथा ज्योतिराकारकत्वात् तदेको वसिष्ठः शिवः केवलोऽहम् न शास्ता न शास्त्रं न शिष्यो न शिक्षा न च त्वं न चाहं न चायं प्रपञ्चः स्वरूपावबोधो विकल्पासहिष्णुः तदेको वसिष्ठः शिवः केवलोऽहम् न जाग्रन्न मे स्वप्नको वा सुषुप्तिः न विश्वो न वा तेजसः प्राज्ञको वा अविद्यात्मकत्वात्त्रयाणां तुरीयः तदेको वसिष्ठः शिवः केवलोऽहम् अपि व्यापकत्वात् हि तत्त्वप्रयोगात् स्वतः सिद्धभावादनन्याश्रयत्वात् जगत्तुच्छमेतत् समस्तं तदन्यत् तदेको वसिष्ठः शिवः केवलोऽहम् न चैकं तदन्यत् द्वितीयं कुतः स्यात् न वा केवलत्वं न चाकेवलत्वं न शून्यं न चाशून्यमद्वैतकत्वात् कथं सर्ववेदान्तसिद्धं ब्रवीमि कथं सर्ववेदान्तसिद्धं ब्रवीमि।